Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, we have a rocking 90 plus minutes to hang out with you, enjoy gaming, talk about gaming. We're talking Halo. We're talking Crazy Taxi. We have a lot to get into. Right now, it's just me and Jamie Moran, obviously the elusive gamer, Mr. Mass Effect himself. We'll get his intro in a second. We're waiting for Crazy Lou Gaming, and we're waiting for Infinite Umber to show up. And if they don't, let's say, for instance, like Umber was too tired because the guy works midnight, so you can't blame him when he just falls asleep because he works midnights. We will try and get another person in here, but I do want to give them an opportunity to jump in here. But before we get into the topics, and we do have a lot to cover, even though it's the summer, even though it's the 2nd of July, and we are on the cusp of the 4th of July, we are going to have a great conversation. There is a bunch of news to get into. And the one that I'm most excited for, I mean, look, I'm a Halo guy. You guys and gals know that. You're going to see the gameplay. I've been playing it. I just crossed 23 days in Halo Infinite. I'm not sorry because it's my favorite multiplayer of all time. Even outpacing 3, which was tip of the spear for me. And you know what? Every month there is a new operation, which I think is freaking phenomenal. But we will get into that. But Crazy Taxi is coming back. It's an MMO, and it looks freaking bonkers good. I mean, who is not a Sega fan? Look, this is the Sega that we know and love from the Dreamcast. And you know, Sonic has been around. He's been doing his thing. He's had a bunch of releases. Some have hit, some have missed. But there is so much more to Sega than Sonic. And one of the games that I think most of us remember who can just smile about it is the fact, well, Crazy Taxi is one of them. That was a great single-player game. Mrs. Boom and I used to play it like crazy when we were dating. Unbelievable back in those days. We used to play... she was a big fan of House of the Dead. We used to play that together, which was freaking awesome. We're going to get into that. And we do have another topic on the back end. But Jamie Moran, the elusive gamer, again, Mr. Mass Effect, who is waiting for his new Mass Effect game. How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Hey, man. Happy to be here. Just struggling in the British weather at the minute, playing some games. It's all good. I like the fact we're going to be talking about Sega today because Xbox's origins is kind of Sega.
Indeed.
Yeah, I love all that stuff, and I'm just looking forward to talk about it.
Well, we do, you know, and that's going to be the opening salvo because, like I said, I just messaged Infinite Umbra, Crazy Lou Gaming, who was doing his Crazy Lou stuff. Hopefully, he didn't have to go into the office. Lou, if you're listening, brother, join us. The link is in the chat in the DM, so please join us when you get an opportunity. Let's open up with that that information. So originally, it was posted by Dexterito, I believe that's how it is. I don't even know how to pronounce it, to be honest with you. And it says Sega reveals a new Crazy Taxi game will be an open world MMO. So I went and looked for it because there wasn't much. There wasn't a link story. It was just a just a post. But you know what's interesting? This post from yesterday has 2 million views. Okay, that's the post. All it says is Sega reveals new Crazy Taxi game will be an open MMO. That's it, right? 29,000 likes, Jamie Moran, and 3.9K retweets, 553 responses. To say that people are excited for a new Crazy Taxi would be an understatement. So I went looking. And, well, I pulled a story from Engadget. It was written by Lawrence Bunk. And I like the Bunk last name because that reminds me of TurboGrafx 16 because Bunk was a dope-ass character. It says in the lead story, Jamie Moran, Sega's new Crazy Taxi reboot will be an open-world MMO. The developers tease a theme park-like map inspired by California? What is happening? So I'm going to read verbatim from the story, and it says Sega's upcoming Crazy Taxi reboot is going to be an open world, massively multiplayer online or MMO game, according to a developer interview on YouTube. The interview includes both quotes from Sega's team and some brief instances of current game footage. Now, The series producer Kenji Kano confirmed that the reboot will be playable by many people at once, though the company is still testing the game's early mechanics. The goal, according to the interview, and of course, according to the translation, is to maintain the feel of the original franchise and its entries while incorporating an MMO element. To that end, the footage shows multiple yellow taxis racing one another with police cars in pursuit. Oddly enough, the police cars are convertibles, Jamie. Look, I'm going to say this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a nerd and I'm proud of it. And when I hear and I read stories like this, I get freaking goosebumps because if there is one company that is true to this old man's heart, and it's not Nintendo, as much as I love Nintendo, it's Sega. And it's always going to be the first time I popped on the Master System, and the second time I put on the Sega Genesis, and then after that it was the Saturn, and then of course my favorite console of all time is the Sega Dreamcast. To the fact that in 2024, Jamie Moran, that we are talking about Crazy Taxi, there's footage of Jet Set Radio reboot out there. We know that they're working on a new House of the Dead. How could you not be giddy like a kid? Let's talk about it, man.
You know, before I get into Crazy Taxi quickly, I'll tell you that there's 2 Jet Set Radio games in development. So,
well, not know that, and that makes me even more happy.
Yeah, so that's good. I love the fact that Sega's having this big turnaround, because for the longest time people just looked at them as the Sega studio, the Sonic studio. They only put out Sonic, and most Sonic games, I'll come out and say it, aren't that good, right? I think a lot of people agree with me. They put out Persona, which is great, and Yakuza, which is great, but they're early 2000s games, like Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi sticks in people's minds. Like you see a single frame of Crazy Taxi and you think The Offspring, right? That first level sticks in everyone's minds. It's a brilliant game, and it's such an easy concept.
Every time that song comes on, my wife starts singing it, and she starts talking about Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, it's such a cool game, and it's like the definition of a video game, And all you do is you pick people up and take them to another location. You're a taxi driver. It was in the UK. Crazy Taxi was big in the arcades in the early 2000s, like huge. Like you couldn't get on a Crazy Taxi arcade machine. People had to line up for ages to play them. So when it's on consoles, like people loved it. It sold out over here, and we haven't really had games like that. You've had games on Xbox Live Arcade and stuff, which kind of emulate that, but the fact that it's coming back. And by the way, I was telling people about 3 or 4 months ago, I sent you the tweet, that it's going to have a 100-player mode. People didn't believe me. They're like, how is Crazy Taxi going to have 100 players? But if you really think about it, Crazy Taxi actually suits the GTA online model. It's just you don't get out your car.
Right. You just drive around. Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and I think, this is going to be big for Sega, because a lot of eyes on that Crazy Taxi announcement. Everything about Crazy Taxi is getting a lot of attention at the minute, because I think people are getting sick of every time you go online, it's always talk about battle passes, battle royales, and stuff. PvP, and Crazy Taxi. It wasn't about how many wins you got. It was about having fun, just taking taking people to the next stop and just having fun. And this is going to have 100 players. There's going to be cops. It's going to be absolute madness. And I think that's something we don't have in video games now. You have it scattered about a bit, but Crazy Taxi, it's just about driving around to music and having fun. And this is going to be a big thing for Sega, because there's been rumors for years that Sega was working on this massive, super game. But their super game is actually 5 small games, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio Reboot, Shinobi, Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
So Sega's back. They didn't go away, obviously, but Sega's they're clearly going to come out with more regular releases, because outside of Persona and Like a Dragon, they don't really come out with much often.
Right.
And I think this is going to poise them to be an even bigger publisher, because unfortunately in Japan, their arcades shut down because the business model's crashing.
Yeah, it sure did, brother.
And
Yeah.
by the way, that was one of the places I wanted to go to when I go to Tokyo, and they bloody shut it down. But
I mean, they do have some areas in Tokyo that do have arcades. It's just the arcade scene is much smaller, but they
yeah,
do exist. There are a few in downtown Tokyo that actually, I mean, they have barcades down there like we have them here, but the true arcades, like the one I grew up in, like again, if you're a New York native and you're familiar with Central Avenue and Yonkers, they had a Nathan's, you know, like the hot dog people, and it was it was ginormous, and maybe I'm remembering it too big because I was a kid, but it had like 200 cabinets in there. And you know how when you walk into an arcade, there's that smell, like there's that of all the circuitry and people smoking. And not the smoking that I like because I was asthmatic, so I didn't like it, but it oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps. Ladies and gentlemen, I know where you're going, Jamie. Please continue.
yeah, like I think people are just ready for like this type of gaming to come back.
Hell
Like
yeah.
Crazy Taxi was never at the time like the most realistic looking game. You know, you're driving around in this box shaped taxi around box shaped buildings, and it was just fun. And it's kind of funny because people always talk about like, you know, oh, my video game I'm playing has clipping, so it's got bugs. We're talking about like people wanting the most Unreal Engine 5, you know, graphics with ray trace and all this stuff. And it's like Crazy Taxi has people's attention, and that doesn't look fancy. You know, it's just people driving around and having fun. And you mentioned the arcade having a smell thing. My local arcade, which unfortunately shut down in 2009, it was half arcade, half pub. So it smelled like beer and vodka mixed with that sweaty arcade smell. So you had people going around playing, you know, Crazy Taxi and Afterburner.
Oh man.
While someone was peeing in the corner. Just had to mention that.
I mean, listen, is it an arcade if somebody didn't pee in a corner? I mean, honestly, come on, what world are we living in, Jamie? Oh my goodness. Look, Jamie, you're hitting a home run every time you step up to the plate, being a part of this show, and that breakdown of Crazy Taxi is exactly why we love video games. Like honestly, you can hear the excitement in my voice. You can hear the excitement in the voice of Jamie Moran, but you know whose voice we haven't heard? That would be Infinite Umbra, one of the best voices, Mr. Unreal Engine himself. Infinite Umbra, how are you feeling, sir?
Yeah. Hey, I heard you guys talking about the Offspring, and you know, every time I see Crazy Taxi, it's two things that pop up in my head. Is one is the hey, it is
Yes.
Crazy Taxi, and the second is the Offspring. Day after day, you get no relief. I mean, how can you not pair them together, right?
Yeah.
Spectacular game. I used to love that game on Dreamcast, man. It used to be one of my favorites. And now seeing that it's a, you know, supposedly an MMO, I'm like, how's that going to work out? And then I saw your tweet, Jamie, where you're talking about 100-player. What is it type? 100-player? What is it?
100-player MMO. Yeah, that's been confirmed that it is going to be an MMO. You're going to have, and again, we don't know the ratio, but it seems like it's going to be maybe 50 on 50. So there's going to be cops chasing crazy taxi drivers, and I would imagine there's going to be like, while you're being chased by the police, you're going to have to drop off and pick up customers. That freaking sounds so good. I don't even know what to say.
No, man, it looks dope from what I saw. I saw the cops on the little snippet that we get to see of gameplay chasing at. It looks so fun. I'm guessing they'll have an option where we get to play as the cops too, chasing.
Oh yes, I'm sure. Yeah,
that's going to be fun. It makes me think of, when I see that aspect, it makes me think of one of my favorite Need for Speed games. What was it? Hot Pursuit. It makes me think of
Hot Pursuit was freaking dope AF, bro. Yeah. Like I would actually take a remake of that game.
Oh man, me too. And I mean, you have the obvious what was that Need for Speed that came out on a 360?
You're talking about well, Most Wanted is my favorite.
Most Wanted. That's probably top.
And they're remaking that supposedly, which I don't listen, folks. I know a lot of people feel, you know, about the remake stuff. I'm not even gonna front. If EA remakes Most Wanted, the first one, I don't care if I spend $70 on that. I'm buying that day freaking one.
I'm definitely getting it. And it's it's the I don't want to say advent, but it's the addition of the cops chasing after you that just kind of amps up the whole aspect of what you're doing. And so Crazy Taxi adding something like that into it, it just makes me think of the whole stop now when police chasing after you and Most Wanted. Freeze, stop! And they screaming at you over the little, microphone is hilarious. But
it almost seems like it's a natural succession, Umber.
Yeah,
like when you
in some
consider
ways.
how the illegal driving that you're doing in Crazy Taxi. I mean, you're nearly mowing down hordes of pedestrians. So you would imagine that it almost seems like a natural transition to get cops to chase you.
Right.
I absolutely love this idea. I'm like the oldest guy most of the time in the room. So when I as a nostalgic kind of a gamer think back to Sega, and I think about specifically like the Dreamcast, where it had so many incredible experiences. Crazy Taxi was one of them. We're gonna get a new Crazy Taxi potentially next year. That's crazy, Umber, to even think about.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I love it, man. This is, to me, I feel like if you're going to bring back games, because we always see the obvious with Sony, you see they bringing back games that's not even 5 years out or 6 years out.
Yeah,
and where there's so many other games that we could be bringing back, or they could be bringing back, that would deserve that shine and deserve that franchise to continue on. In my opinion, I was talking about this on PTK's podcast this past Saturday, which is things like the Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, right? That series should be rebooted. That should be brought back.
Well, I mean, isn't there like a graphic novel coming out?
Yeah, it is. I saw that.
It was just announced. So I mean, if there's interest for a graphic novel, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, maybe that's the foundation being laid for it. We already know about Splinter Cell coming back, so like those are things that deserve to be there, right? So having a lot of these Sega Genesis, Sega Genesis, but these Sega revitalizations of IP, I'm all for it, man. I mean, hell, if I had my way, I would tell them to redo Shenmue too. You know what I mean? And
dude, I saw a lot of people in the chat talking about Sega, because obviously there are a lot of Sega fans here. At the end of the article, which is very exciting for me like I said, as much as I love Nintendo, you guys and gals know I talk about Nintendo unashamedly. I buy every game that comes out that's first party. I got 100 physical games, like right here. And I don't get just one. I buy two. Tyler always gets a copy with me. That kid is a Nintendo kid through and through, and one of the best Smash Brother players I've ever seen. That his skills are just legendarily ridiculous. But on the last paragraph of this particular topic, it says this reboot is just one of Sega's upcoming visits to the nostalgia well. The company recently announced that it's breaking out many of its dusty IPs to work on modern versions that include Crazy Taxi, of course, Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, and there were a couple of others confirmed, House of the Dead being one of them. I mean, look, like I said in the opening, Umbra, I understand that people's hesitation to get remakes, remasters. I get all of that. These are not remakes and remasters. These are taking existing IP and bring them into 2024 and 25 and beyond. I could not be more happier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I mean, even with the ones you named, the Golden X's and all of that, the last Golden X I played was on Sega Genesis.
Dude, I beat them all. I play them once a year. I'm a beat 'em up guy. I play them all the time. Yeah. So those are classic. But I mean, we saw some of what they look like, and like Streets of Rage. Holy shit! It looks so good.
Yeah, Streets of Rage looks good. I mean, for me, if they would have given it to what was it, Dot?
Oh, you're talking about the people that did Turtles? Yes,
yeah,
man, Turtles, that's what I'm talking about.
Turtles and what you call it? Part 4 of
was it Streets of Rage?
it was Streets of Rage, right?
Yeah, what's Streets of Rage for? Yeah.
Yeah. So Streets of Rage 4, give it to them to do it. I've been all fine with that.
Just
too.
shut up and take my money.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, we got a resurgence of that. You even had the Double Dragon game that came out. I still have to get that, by the way. The one that
Dude, I'm telling you right now, you start playing that number, knowing you as a gamer, you're not going to put it down. Me and Kay Asante talked about that. I beat that game 4 times. And you just want to, as soon as you beat it, you want to go right back into it. That new Double Dragon game, if you didn't get it, and you like side-scrolling beat 'em ups, please get that freaking game. Absolutely phenomenal.
Tell me they got Adobo still in there, the big Andre the Giant looking dude.
You know what?
Zebra
I'm
shirt.
pretty sure that they did have him in there. You know what? I played it months and months ago, and I'd be lying if I said, "Oh yeah, he's in there," and you go looking for him, he's not in there. I'm pretty sure he's there. I'd have to go look. I'd have to see, but I remember that character. Yeah.
No, but that's dope, man. I love the whole. I love them bringing back quality franchises. You know, it's good to see that, to me, in my opinion. Bring them and modernize them. There's way more than enough room for them, in my honest opinion. And maybe they could grow into something even more beyond just, kind of 2D pixels and stuff like that, right? So hopefully, but with Crazy Taxi, though, getting back to our subject at hand, I'm loving everything I've seen so far and what I'm hearing. The whole 100-player survival thing that Jamie posted, I'm like, that sounds fun. So I wonder how that will work out, like, because it's open world, but it still looks like the general layout of the streets is similar to what
the original.
Yeah. So I want to know how that plays out, but it sounds fun, man. I'm all for it. The whole, I guess, MMO thing throws me off a little bit. I'm not used to MMOs, but I'm all for trying it out. I can't wait to see what they do.
I would not be surprised, Infinite Umbra, if there were the MMO mode that they're advertising, as well as like there's going to be modes. I would imagine there's going to be an arcade mode or a quote unquote classic arcade mode. It makes too much sense not to actually have that, right? Like it would be kind of silly not to actually have
some
that.
type of time rush mode or something like that, I imagine too. Like where you have to make certain deliveries before however much time. Yeah, I can see that too. No, that'd be fun, man. Yeah.
Listen, it's going to be a blast. I cannot wait for it. But I want to move on to the second topic now. Jamie, I'm going to go right to you because you had put out a tweet regarding how ridiculous July is going to be for Xbox Game Pass. Now, I know I've seen the first, and I sent it. Let me just pull up the DM that I sent you guys. Let's see. Hold on just a second here. Okay, so the Xbox Game Pass official Twitter account just posted this earlier this morning, 9:01 a.m., where it does have the first 8 titles that are being added, Jamie, to Xbox Game Pass, but it's the backhand 4 that are not on this list that should have you very excited. So it's Cricket 2024. Again, not a game for me, but it's in there, okay? They have a game called Flock, which actually looks, it's an indie. It looks very cool. I'm not going to lie. Journey to a Savage Planet, that is a return. I believe that was already in Xbox Game Pass. You have one called Magical Delicacy. That's a side scroller. It's a pixel-based witch game, if I'm not mistaken. I watched the trailer this morning. Again, not really a game I'm going to spend 17 hours playing, but it looked cool nonetheless. A neon white actually looks really good. I'm very excited for that. I know people were like poo-pooing that. That actually looks cool. There was a game back in the days, I believe it was a PlayStation launch game called Jumping Flash. Now, it's not the same game, obviously, but it kind of gave me that feel when I was watching the trailer for Neon White. Now, this may not mean a lot for a lot of people, but Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, that's a big grab for kids. Again, my nephew Tyler, he plays all of these games because he loves Smash Brothers, but he plays All-Star Brawl 2. I actually bought it for him. Well, now it's in Game Pass. Now, there is one that I don't know. What was
Wasn't
that?
Neon White? I think was even up for like indie game of the year, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
for a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, it was. And I
It's
don't
like
know
a
why people are
89
poo-pooing
rated.
this. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
they
it's
shouldn't be.
yeah,
Yeah.
they absolutely shouldn't be. You watch the trailer, and if you don't like it, I mean, I hear you, but that's a big get for Game Pass.
Yeah,
So there's
absolutely.
one called The Case of the Golden Idol. I don't know what it is. I didn't even watch the trailer. Look, I'll put it to this way: the artwork isn't appealing enough to be like, wow, what is this game? It looks it doesn't. I don't want to judge it a book on its cover, so I'm going to give it a shot. Maybe it's the greatest game since sliced bread, but the least one that I'm most interested in. And they have one here now. I don't know how to pronounce it. I believe the T is silent. It's TCHIA, so it's Chaya.
I always go chia whenever I
I mean,
see that.
that could be that. Actually also looks pretty good. Now, Jamie, you had put a tweet in. You had posted a tweet, and the tweet that you had posted, let me see if I can find it here, is you had to, I think you retweeted the Xbox UK one, where on the second half of July, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, Dungeons of Hindenburg, and of course, the demo that's out right now, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess. And holy shit, does that game look freaking amazing. I haven't played it because obviously I was doing the show, but that's the thing. That's what I'm going to do this afternoon. Jamie, look, I know that there are still a bunch of people in this community on both sides, both Xbox, which is shocking to me, but on PlayStation especially, that try and poo-poo the importance of Game Pass and its value. Maybe not every game is going to be for you as a gamer, but we cannot deny that the Game Pass is filled with fodder shenanigans is a conversation that even exists anymore. And July is another banger of a year. Now, there are some rumors floating that there's going to be additional titles added to the back end. I don't know if that's true, but if we just get this without the so-called rumor, it's a W, a giant W. Let's get into it, man.
I mean, as you know, I put out a video every month of upcoming games coming out that month. I put one out the other day, 10 biggest new games coming out to Xbox in July. And I have a database of games coming to Xbox, dates, times, Xbox One, Xbox Series, consoles, all that stuff, Game Pass, every bit of information. By the way, my lists are actually more accurate than IGN's. I'd like to pride myself on that.
That's not surprising, because what does IGN do right except for back Sony?
Yeah, true.
IGN might not even have Xbox listed as the game coming forward. Jamie.
I mean, you do spell ignorant with IGN. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm being real.
Yeah, a bit of a tangent. I can't believe that Persona 3 Reload was announced on the Xbox stage last year, yet they forgot to list it on their website.
Well, I don't think they forgot. I just think that they're very purposeful is how they do their business, which is why I don't like IGN.
They did it to like 4 or something games that year.
Yeah, it's gross. It's just gross.
Yeah, but back to the topic. I cover like games coming out, and people like to dog on Game Pass for whatever reason. Maybe because they don't have access to it. Maybe because they're part of the contingent of people that just don't like subscription models. Let me tell you that the biggest games that come to get Xbox like almost every single month usually launch in Game Pass. Of course, your Assassin's Creeds and games like that usually don't launch in Game Pass, but like big games launch in Game Pass. In July, I'll put out there, July is the biggest month for gaming this year. It's kind of low key because not much marketing's going on, but it's the biggest month for games. The first Descendant just dropped this morning, which is an Unreal Engine 5 third-person shooter. It's free to play. People can download it, play it if they like it. But Kunitsu Path of the Goddess, it's a half action game, half strategy game, and it looks phenomenal. The demo is out now, launches in Game Pass later this month. Flintlock Siege of Dawn, that's going to be the biggest game of the month. That is a super deep action RPG, which I think people are going to love. There's armor crafting, you can fly around the environment in this like hover style way. You have a magical fox which helps you out in battle. Which
looks dope. It looks good, dude.
It looks super cool. And whenever I make these posts or videos, I have these people, these detractors that say like, oh, well, at least I buy my games, right? One, the developers get paid upfront for these deals, right? So the developer isn't missing out on anything. And the people that always say, hey, I buy my games, do you know what I never see on Twitter? I never see them post videos or screenshots of their gameplay. So they're not buying the games they're saying they are. They just like to argue. Game Pass is a great deal. And like, I put it like this. People can say I'm just defending Game Pass because I'm an Xbox fanboy or whatever. I never used to be subscribed to Game Pass. Like up until maybe 2019 or 2020, I never really saw the value in it for me because I owned nearly every single game in there.
Exactly.
And that's back when they had literally 100 games in, you know, the Arkham Knight and Alien Isolation and their first party stuff. I had all that stuff. But then when they start really kicking things off in late 2019 and 2020, like they have like over 300 games now. To me, Game Pass is a must subscribe service. You know, it's up there with Disney Plus for me. I'm subscribed to Disney Plus. I can't see myself moving away from that. And for some reason, Game Pass triggers people. And I don't understand why. You know, the business model for all these mediums have changed over the years. iTunes literally changed the music business in the early 2000s. People were okay with it. The book model has completely changed. People download books and read them. You know, Netflix and all these TV subscriptions. People used to complain about being subscribed to Sky or whatever cable services you have in the US. Like, people would complain about having to pay for these services. And then when they cut the cord, you know, they start subscribing to 10 different services, you know, and these people that subscribe to 10 different services hate Game Pass. And I just don't understand it because it's a good value. If it wasn't a good value, I'd crap on it. Like Microsoft, they're not perfect. I hate the fact that their DVR system isn't that good.
You know? So it's egregious.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Like we used to have 2 minutes of 1080p 60 FPS recording when the Xbox Series X came out. And now it's a minute. And it dropped to a minute and we weren't even told why. It just randomly happened in, I think it was like late 2021. You know, that isn't good. I think their BC stuff needs to stick around for a little bit further. A little bit longer because the Xbox 360 turns 20 years old next year. They should have at least made it to next year. The fact that people can't buy 360 games on the web store because the store's broken. So they're not going to fix the online store before the store closes. Like, Microsoft ain't perfect. But when it comes to Game Pass and their games, bloody good at the minute. You know, there was a time when Microsoft had like a little piddly handful of studios when they only had like, people hate Microsoft now because they have all these studios. Think about it like this. Back in the Xbox 360 generation, they had like 5 studios. They only put out one game every few years, and they were the biggest name in gaming, where gaming was referred to as the de facto thing as Xbox. You know, if you were playing a video game on something, it was an Xbox. And they rarely put out games. You know, they relied on third-party business models, the Call of Duty marketing, and that got them to the top. But now they're in a great place. They have a great service, and the fact that people keep crapping on their service, it's either jealousy or they're mental.
I mean, yeah, it's narratives, right? Like, look, I don't get paid every time I say Xbox Game Pass because if I did, me and Mrs. Boone would have bought a house already. I say it quite a bit, and I don't say it because I'm an Xbox. I say it because I'm a consumer, and I'm a consumer that is one of the few people that puts himself and my life on Front Street for everyone to watch. Whether I'm judged or not, it's out there. I'm retired. Yes. Am I lucky that I retired very early? Sure. But luck had nothing to do with it. It had to do with tenacity and upbringing from my pops and my mom's watching their work ethic. And I put the work in and I worked super hard to get it, right? So I don't apologize for it. What I do say is that as great as my pension is, Infinite Umbra, it has a ceiling, like everything in this world. And I'm sorry to continue to talk about it, but to Jamie's point, I don't get it. If you don't like Xbox, I hear you. But can you be a human? Can you actually be a real life human being, whether you hate the box or you don't? Be like, yeah, man, you know, that is pretty ridiculous how incredible and what you get in Xbox Game Pass. I wish my platform did that, whether that be Nintendo or PlayStation. And another perfect example of continuing to deliver incredible experiences of every ilk, Infinite Umbra. July is another banger month. I mean, you have AAA bombs, you got AA bombs, you got single A, and you got indie. And you know what? Who wins? We win as consumers because your choices are there in spades. And that doesn't, and it doesn't mean that they get these 9 new titles and they take 9 away. Yes, some do leave, but they advertise this thing at 100 games, and we know that there's like 500 games in there currently. Let's talk about July, man. Big month for the service, especially with some of the big games. Again, the Capcom game, shocking. That is again multi-plat, but day one in Game Pass. That's a big get, man.
Game Pass. I got it on my PC and my Xbox. Listen, last year alone, I was talking about this maybe a year or two ago, where I was pointing out how much, and when I really looked at it and started to think, man, how much am I saving using Game Pass? I really had to think on it. I'm like, at that point, it was like $700 and some odd dollars. I did the math on it, right? But I went to just to see in general how much last year, for instance, users who would play all the games that they offered you in Game Pass would have saved. Do you know that it came out in American, at least to American currency, it came out to $8,763 in different regions. I mean, in UK, 7,695. I'm gonna guess that's pounds. In Canada, Canadian moose dollars, it was 11,425. In Australia, 13,392 Australian dollar reduce. Like, it's pretty insane, man. And Brazil, I think what they call their currency is what, real. I forgot what they call it. 36,898. It's pretty insane how much value you get out of Game Pass. And so not only is it undeniable when it comes to that, but you're right. You look at many of the games that they're offering you outside of the games that were nominated for Game of the Year, like Neon White that you mentioned a minute ago.
Yeah.
To Chia, which was one of the PlayStation games they highlighted that they had as an independent game. And Chia does look gorgeous. It reminded me of Zelda, I think the Wind Waker or whatever. Like when you're kind of
that's exactly what it reminded. I watched the video, and when she's flying with the leaf, and she's like, she's like she cooks, and the character she has like a limited time to how long she climbs.
Yeah,
it's very, very Breath of the Wild.
Definitely have those elements. I'm definitely going to play it. I can see it looking gorgeous on the old ROG Ally too. So I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, and I love everything. That's the beauty too. If you don't limit yourself and you try to play everything, or at least a lot, like a Hargeet would. Hargeet plays even more genres than I would. Yeah. But I am, I try.
And he destroys them like you.
He really does. And if you really get that, I mean, there's no possible logical way you could have any negativity about Game Pass. When I see our Who brothers complaining about it, I know what that's from. That's just jealousy.
That's exactly what it is, sir. Yes.
Yeah. If PlayStation had it, they'd be praising it to the high heavens. So let's just be real for once. And that's the thing. Like, social media has unfortunately tailored people to lie. Lie or
hashtag all they do is lie.
All they do is lie and gather in barns and eat hay and neigh at us. But yeah, it's sad, man. And like me, I pride myself on being real. I don't like fakes. I don't like being fake. I don't sit around and just lie to people just to lie because I prefer one platform over the other. I'm very clear that I prefer Xbox over everything else, but I'm not anti anybody else. You know what I mean? And I don't know why anybody would be anti whatever. Why you're here as a gamer, right? That should be your first and foremost thing to do. So if you're seeing all these outpouring of great games coming to the service of Xbox and Game Pass, or rather, and on Xbox, I don't see how you could be like poo-pooing that, and you know what I mean, and railing against it. It just doesn't add up. So yeah, like the Flintlock, I played the demo of that maybe. I guess
that game looks so good, dude. Like,
it looks pretty good. It's got its shortcomings too, but it's a AA, so I don't expect it to have AAA budgeted visuals, but for AA, it still looks damn good. I mean, and what would you expect with it being an Unreal Engine, right? Yeah, you know,
your middle name. Oh, and real quick, just confirmation. In the Killer's Fortress, the mid boss for Double Dragon is a Bobo, so he's in the game.
Oh, nice. He is in there. I said adobo, but I meant to say a bobo. Yeah, a bobo. Yeah,
Adobo is the spice that Mrs. Boom uses
Yeah.
because, well, you know, she's Hispanic, so
yeah, a bobo is spicy, so I guess it matches. He's spicy. Yeah. No, but seriously, yeah, I forgot about. Okay, yeah, a bobo. That's it, a bobo. But do they have the never mind? That'd be too much for prime time. I was gonna say morning time is probably better for prime time with the whip wielding lady of the night, I'll say. Anyway, but no, man, that's dope. Flintlock, I played about 4 hours of that in a demo. Really enjoyable. It has some flaws, you know, but some
Yeah.
I think that they'll work out before it releases. So I think that's going to be good too. Dungeons of Hinterberg, you know, seeing more of it as we saw in the showcase.
that game looks good, dude.
It looks like it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
A little diversion. I don't know how much I'll get into it, but I'm going to give it a chance. It looks, I like the color palette and everything of it. It looks like it could be something special. Excuse me, Kunitsu Gami. I'm going to try that out later today, probably once I get a nap in. And, you know, since the demo is out, it looks like it's going to be really great too. And that was a surprise for everybody when they showcased that. So, you know, I'm sure again, a lot of people on PlayStation, they have the demo coming to them as well. I'm sure they would have loved for this to launch into the service of PSN, right? Or to excuse me, PS Plus or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm loving all of that. And then I'm sure we'll probably have even more reveals coming later this month, as they tend to do. They'll say, "Oh, this is also coming." So again, I don't know how you could sit there and be rail against anything Game Pass. I think it's just silly at this point if you're hating on it on the service at this point. It's something all of us should be praising. I would want Sony to do something, make their own version of it. If anything, if I was a PlayStation gamer, I would say, hey, can you give us something comparable? That would be my complaint. Like, they're giving us this, they're giving them that on that side. What about us? You know,
they won't never complain, Umbra. I talked about it yesterday morning. Nobody complains anything about Sony. Nothing. Sony is the
when you do, and it's not even if you have an opinion, Crazy Lou Gaming, people attack you. It's like that the attack dogs are on the ready. You know what? PlayStation,
always.
be better. Sorry, it's just you suck right now.
right.
That's just a fact.
Right. And you mentioned the First Descendant. I actually played a bit of that before I got on, by the way. Gorgeous. Just want to throw it out there. So also Unreal Engine. You know. I have to say it as I'm on the contract. But yeah. Welcome, Louis, by the way. Did your picture haunt you yet and capture your soul?
Nah. You know, they did a research on the picture, though. Supposedly, she is Magdalene the Red. She supposedly killed 3 husbands, so I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's that.
That's a terrible omen for you.
Good for the wife, though.
Hopefully you hang around long enough to finish this podcast, sir. We appreciate your opinion. Whether you get possessed or not is irrelevant. Yeah, so Umbra, listen, good stuff all around. I mean, listen, it's Game Pass is in a position now that they just keep stacking the deck. There is no denying it. Crazy Lou Gaming, I want to get your hot take on this. I know you're just joining us. First of all, welcome as always.
Sure, thank you.
July expected to be a banger of a month. According to Jamie's research, actually one of the biggest gaming Julys in recent memory, and a lot of those games are in Game Pass day and date. Another win for Xbox, another win for Xbox consumers. Let's get your hot take on the games launching into Xbox Game Pass this July.
I suppose the question is, what hasn't it not been a banger? Even though sometimes we see that, oh, it's okay, these games, that are coming up are kind of stuff, but it's good. It's good. It's a good month to play your backlog games because everybody's got a backlog. Everybody does. I mean, I've not seen anybody come back and say, no, I don't have a backlog. We all do. We got games to beat. So Game Pass, man, is the best service out there, like Jamie said, is the truth. I mean, no matter what people say, the thing is, it's just too beautiful. We just see every month they pour in games and games and games, and that's what we gotta do on these consoles. Instead of going out here playing Twitter, that's what we gotta do. We gotta sit here and play games, and that's what Xbox just keeps us making us do, which is the beautiful thing about Game Pass. Each and every month, games and more games. I mean, look, the library for July is beautiful, and what's coming up forward, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a banger. I mean, you got Call of Duty coming soon. You got Gamescom that when it comes around in August, to see what other games are going to come around, which is about. We got Indiana Jones. We got also in September, we have Stalker 2 that's also coming out on Game Pass. I mean, damn, we're packed in games. Now, on the other side of things, what are they doing over there? All they got is Astrobot, which I'm not saying it's bad. It's going to be a good game. But besides Astrobot, they got Conquered, which they've all were wishing and praying and saying everywhere it's going to be the Starfield killer, which, again, it's a big mistake for you to add killer or the game, or you know what I mean, right? The same thing with Killzone when they said it's going to be the Halo killer, and you know what happened to it, right? Anthem said it was going to be Destiny killer. You know what happened to it, right? So it's always bad when you add the killer to it. So, and another thing, like I said, they were praising for it to be a Starfield killer, but it was not the game they expected. That's all they have pretty much on the other side. Plus another thing too, and it's something I talked about yesterday, and I'll say it again and again because it's the truth. I mean, look, Plus service got a price increase. Did I see people go out there and complain? No, they didn't complain. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just to help out the service to get it better. Okay, that's it. But the question is, I did not see, not even media, nobody asked, okay, you guys made a price increase. What are you offering us to pay your $180 each and every for the whole year? What are you offering us to pay this? They haven't offered nothing. They have not said anything. I mean, you got PlayStation Stars has been down for like what, 25 days now? That's
almost a month.
Almost a month.
Oh yeah, almost a month. Ridiculous. No complaints by anybody. Just oh, it's fine. It's it's Sony. They can do what they want. Get out of here with that.
Exactly. It's like Sony does whatever they want with them, and they don't say nothing. And that is something I keep on saying, that media has got to take charge. And look, we talked about this last week. We talked about last week, especially for the PSVR 2. And all of a sudden, we see an article come up on media 3 or 4 days later, and I was like, damn, finally an article comes out saying you guys should be refunding these people. I mean, you guys got to sit down and refund these people for the people who actually purchased the damn PSVR 2, because you guys cut production. Now you're cutting budgets. So what's going on with this? I mean, what's happening? Are you going to give us a refund option, or what are you guys going to do? I mean, I was so happy when I saw an article go out there by the media talking about this. And like I said, nobody goes out and complains about anything that Sony does. I mean, I even mentioned they charge you $10 to upgrade the game, while Xbox does it for free.
Yeah,
for free.
Ridiculous.
I mean, you guys got to complain. You guys got to complain. You guys got to come out and complain to make Sony better. The thing is that every time we say something, they feel like, yeah, we're putting our gloves on, we're attacking. No, we're not attacking. We're just saying we want it to be better, because look at this generation. Xbox has done a wonderful generation. I mean, they've done so well. They went out there, purchased studios. They made a big full first-party lineup. I mean, look at this showcase, what happened. Beautiful, one of the most beautiful showcases I've seen in years. Combining PlayStation and Xbox, the most beautiful showcase I've seen in years out of those two shows. I mean, those two companies. Xbox pulled it off, made an awesome showcase. Why? Because they actually have a big first-party lineup. Not only that, they also got third-party coming in and a whole lot of stuff coming in. So yes, we are seeing how Xbox is doing, and that's because of how PlayStation was last generation. So what am I saying when I go out there and say stuff about Sony? I want them to go out there, put the gloves, right, and say, okay, Xbox, let's go into it. Let's see what we can bring so you guys can bring better. And that's how it is. Competition is always good. But sadly, Sony is right now playing catch up, which is the truth. They're trying to catch up with what Xbox is doing and everything. So what can we do? I have to sit and wait to see what Sony brings to the table. But as of now, Xbox is kicking butt. Xbox Game Pass is the best service to be subscribed on. Why? Because we got to do what we
value, brother. Value proposition
system. Yeah. And that is to game and also save money. Value is also great. Now I'm telling you, Xbox Game Pass is the best service to try. If you guys have not tried out, and stop with the whole stupid idea, because listen, I just love when they come out and say, well, they're renting games, they're not buying it. Huh? What do you mean renting games? What are you talking
So
about?
stupid.
What is that narrative about? Because I keep telling them this every time Game Pass comes up and they show this library of titles, right? There's probably one or two you say, these titles look weird. Then you look for them on YouTube, you see, oh, let me see. Okay, this looks okay. Let me go try it out. That's what Game Pass lets you to do. You try it out. If you like it, you keep on playing it. And if you love it, you go ahead and buy it and have it for your catalog because you have the option to buy. That's the benefit of Game Pass. If you guys don't understand that, I mean, you are nuts. Like I said, stop with the foolish idea about renting because listen, Plus, believe it or not, when you play Plus and you download the game, you say, yeah, it's my game. Did you buy it? No. So
No.
what happens if you stop paying for the subscription on Plus?
You lose access to it, brother.
Exactly.
Facts.
You get that lock in there. You can't play it until you reactivate the Plus in order to play it. So yes, it's rented too. But now for Game Pass, though, same thing. If you quit playing it, you can't use the service. But if you buy it, though, it's yours and you can play it. So, like I said, stop with the renting crap because you guys pretty much have the same thing with the Plus. You download it, you quit paying for the service, you cannot play the game anymore. It's locked unless if you buy it. That's how it is. It's not yours.
1000%. Well said. Again, I call me a lunatic, gentlemen, and chat. When was the last time you bought a series from Netflix or from Paramount? You didn't. You watched it. It's in your queue. And you want to watch it again. You go watch it. Do you own it? You don't. So stop it. Yeah, it's just fake outrage, fake rhetoric. But listen, let me catch up on super chats, gentlemen, because there's been quite a few of them. I want to thank everybody. We have a 745 live viewers, and it's almost even 367 from Twitter, which I can't believe is a thing, and 378 live viewers from, of course, YouTube. A big thank you for that. Let me just catch up on the super chats, and of course, we will move on to the cover story, which is some big Halo news. Obviously, Mr. Infinite Umbra, middle name Unreal Engine, is going to like this story because, well, the next Halo is going to be done in Unreal Engine 5. I have a whole mess of conversation to have with you guys and gals, but Will Broke Boy Lewis has done it again. And I've completely lost count how many times he has gifted 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. Dude, that's generosity that goes beyond what anyone would ever think. Thank you so much for the continued generosity. So he gifts 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships. If you did get one, please, by all means, thank this man. And he also follows that with a $5 super chat and goes on. I saw The Offspring 5 years ago in concert in Bristol, Virginia. Dexter Holland, singer, did a piano version of Gone Away, and it literally gave me chills. Wow, dude, that is freaking awesome. I'm going to look for that online because I do like The Offspring and would love to. I think they're making a comeback too, which would be kind of dope to have them do a song or a remake song for, I mean, if that song's not in the game, it's going to be a complete miss in my opinion, but we'll see. JJ saying 117 drops a very generous $5 super chat. And JJ says, do people who complain about Game Pass and Xbox really care about the industry and developers? Seems like they are trolls who have nothing better to do. Yeah, I mean, listen, look, I think it was Jamie that said it. The developers get paid in advance. They get big bags for the games. Now, I mean, is it a risk as a developer where you are going to take this bag and would you make more money selling it? Well, I'm sure that there are things in the background to help the developers. Like, say for instance, they put a game out, it's an indie game, right? And we don't know if it's going to be good or not, but let's say for instance it is good, and they sell 1 million copies. I'm sure that there is protection on the back end that if you have this many hours played of your game and it sells and this many downloads, you get extra money. There's got to be something in there. Again, I don't know the contracts. I don't write them, but I would imagine that there is something there for protection of the developer / publisher. So I wouldn't worry too much about the devs. They're getting paid. But gentlemen, let's get into this lead story. Now, look, Halo Infinite, for me, is one of the best Halos that I've ever played. I have nearly 23 days in Halo Infinite. I make no apologies for it. I continue to play it. There is a new what is it? It's not a campaign, it's a new operation that's dropping soon. I've completed every operation from start of the fall of Reach to current. There isn't one that I haven't completed. I absolutely love it. The single player, in my opinion, was one of the best stories we've had since Halo 3. Same with the multiplayer, and it is a bloody shame, Jamie Moran, that we're not going to get a continuation of the story, but it's fine. So something happened last month, Jamie, that set the internet and the gaming world ablaze. And that was the confirmation of not only a new Gears game, but a game that goes back to E-Day, striking at that nostalgic core or chord for what makes Xbox Xbox. Now, it's safe to say, without seeing any of the tropes or the funny jokes that PlayStation gamers and haters of Xbox want to make, oh, it's Gears, Forza, and Halo. Well, that's the Trinity. Those are the pillars that have built up the brand. Now, granted, Forza Horizon 5, phenomenal game. The updates have been ridiculous. Gears of War, depending on whether you feel about 4 and 5, I happen to really like 5. They're going back to the original way that they made Gears and how it was played, like 1, 2, and 3 with E-Day. They've already confirmed that. We know that they're hard at work at the next Horizon. Horizon 6 is going to be out. Is it going to be in Japan? Well, I hope so. But, Jamie, we have a story here from Insider Gaming. It was written by Mike Straw. Inside Gaming is obviously Tom Henderson's website. It says for the lead article, Halo 7 gets new lead designer. Now, why this is important is because, well, we haven't heard much. We were hoping, at least I was hoping as a Halo fan, to see something, but there are some talks in the background that this could very well be not only a secretive developed title, they don't want to let anything out the bag, but this could be a launch title for the new Xbox in 2026. Now, I don't know how long they've been working on this game. Apparently, it's been a minute, because obviously we had the launch of Halo Infinite come almost a year after the launch of the Xbox Series X console. So it's look, 343. It's had a lot of turmoil. There's been a lot of turnover with leadership, lots of big changes that I'm very happy with. It seems like they're back on track, at least for the multiplayer. But when we talk about the single player, which for me is at the heart of Halo, Unreal Engine 5 is going to be used for the first time on this series. It's a big deal. It's going to look amazing. How it's going to play, well, listen, we don't know. But I can tell you, based on the story, we do have confirmation that there is a new lead designer. His name is Dan Gniady. Now, it's Gniandy. The G is silent. And he is the new lead designer for Halo 7, or whatever they decide to call it. Now, I have a comment. Now, first of all, who is Dan Gniady? Who is he? Well, he is or was someone that worked at Creative Assembly. He's worked at Bungie for a decade. He was the lead designer on the game Hyenas, and he is now running the show when it comes to being the lead designer of the next Halo, whatever that's going to look like and be called. We know that it's going to be an Unreal Engine 5, but this is what he had to say. Pretty interesting stuff. And I quote, "After speaking with a ton of cool teams about rad projects, I'm getting a shot to work with the chief and friends." Now, Gniady posted this on his LinkedIn page last month. "I love Halo, and I'm very excited to be a part of adding to its legacy." Look, there's not much quotes, but this is a big deal. They seem to be putting very special people with very special talents in place to tell the next Halo tale. We need Master Chief to return in a big way. I think that if this is a launch title, right along with the potential of a new Gears game, if it turns out that E-Day is 2026, we are waiting for Forza Horizon 6, which I think is going to also release in 2026. We're talking the Trinity launching the same day as a new next generation console. I think that Xbox is here. I think everyone that has doubted them should definitely be giving it a second look. Let's talk about the Halo information, Jamie.
Yeah, so when it comes to Halo, I think Microsoft knows that, that is like their number one franchise. Like they want to treat that like very special because like Halo launching with the original Xbox. Let's be honest, if there was no Halo, there would be no Xbox.
Correct. Yeah.
And Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 was absolutely massive. Halo 4, people hate on Halo 4. Halo 4 sold over 10 million copies. So it's like Halo 4 was amazing. But I think Halo not launching with the Xbox Series X and S was like a big like negative because everyone was looking at the Xbox Series launch saying, hey, there's no launch titles outside of Gears Tactics. And there weren't. And
I mean, he was on the cover of the box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it was weird because, like, oh, you get your brand new shiny console. Nice. You turn the box around and there's a picture of Master Chief. It's like, okay, so when do I get to play this? A year from now. And, when the game came out, like, by the way, I love Halo Infinite's campaign. I love it. It makes me feel like how I did back with Combat Evolved, stepping out in the Halo ring for the first time. That wow factor and having an open world in a Halo game really works. And we live in an age where I don't think that many companies now can put out a game that just has a traditional 8 to 10 hour linear campaign. Like that's partly why I believe we have so many open world games now to inflate the time to justify the price. That's a story for another day. But when it comes to Halo, like Halo Infinite's multiplayer was dogged on for when it first came out, and now it's at a place where it's loved. So now you have to think of it like, does Microsoft continue supporting Halo Infinite in its multiplayer form as it is now, as well as working alongside the new Halo as Halo 7 and Unreal Engine 5? Unreal Engine 5, and like that might happen. But also the Unreal Engine 5 thing, like it's not just the visuals. Like obviously you're going to have like amazing visuals, but you also have destructible environments, procedural generation, enhanced lighting models, things that make worlds look alive. And like Halo Infinite, it's a great game, but it's not the best looking game. I've seen a lot of people compare Halo Infinite to Halo 5 and say Halo 5's better. That's just an art choice thing. But like Microsoft needs to get their hand on Halo properly because Halo Infinite had a pretty bad, road to launch. When it came out, people loved the campaign. The multiplayer's in a good place now. But Halo hasn't really been in a good place when it comes to the fan base for years, Halo 4 came out, people complained about Sprint. Fun fact, there's people that have complained about Sprint since Halo 4 came out and still complain about it. Wow. What I think they complain about. But Halo just hasn't been the same for a long time. It's because other shooters got really popular. Like Halo 3 was the shooter to play on console back in 2007. But when Call of Duty came out, Call of Duty is an easier game. I'll put it out there. Call of Duty is an easier game to learn and play. Halo is much harder to play multiplayer. And Halo hasn't been as big. Microsoft knows this. Fortunately, they own Call of Duty now. But I think they really need to make Halo like absolutely massive again. Because when the Series X and S came out, like the fantastic console, but there was no game to major first party game to play on the console. I bet Microsoft felt that, So I think they're mainly looking at trying to make Halo as big as it used to be. Have it, like you said, a launch title. I think it makes sense to have it as a launch title. Unreal Engine 5, the tools have came a long way over the past few years, and the development time can be reduced when it comes to Unreal Engine 5. So I think that the franchise is in good hands. Over time we've heard about Halo Infinite single player content being cut, expansions not happening, all that stuff, which pains me because I've had less content to play because I don't play multiplayer anymore. This is good news, and I think it's the news Halo needs going forward.
It absolutely does. And I think that there is an opportunity to quote unquote Infinite Umbra make it right with what happened with Halo Infinite, right? It was supposed to be a launch title. The game wasn't ready to go. They had to delay it. They delayed it a year. And well, this would be an opportunity to, well, I guess make it right, so to speak. I guess I want to repeat myself. Now, real quick, I want to just respond to Spider-Man 356. He said, boom, who said it was Unreal Engine 5? Well, I just did a search and 15 articles popped up, and it was originally reported upon by Ames from Seasoned Gaming. Now, I pulled up a story here from the FPS review. Just, again, because I want to clarify, because I obviously, love context with the conversation. It goes on to say, now this article was written by Peter Brosdali, and it says 343 Industries is reportedly working on the next Halo game, and it has been said the developer is using Epic's Unreal Engine 5. Rumors about the next Halo game began last spring when veteran art/game director Justin Dings, who worked on Halo Infinite, Call of Duty Black Ops DLC, Modern Warfare 3, listed on his LinkedIn page that he's also worked on an unannounced Halo game. It was then in October 2023 when Seasoned Gaming's editor-in-chief, Ains, also revealed during the podcast that the next Halo game was being worked on, but as a part of a restructuring strategy was being built using a popular game engine, which of course was then clarified as Unreal Engine 5. So again, if there's no bigger fan of Halo than Ains, which by the way, he's an assassin in that game, but this has been reported upon for quite some time. So yes, I mean, did 343 say that they're doing it? No, but if you look at many of the stories that I pulled, there are people who are working on this game in their LinkedIn have Unreal Engine 5 as the engine. So again, if you do your investigative work like I did, you'll find the story. Just look for it. All you got to do is type in the next Halo Unreal Engine 5. You'll find 15, 20 stories pop up, and it is happening. It is going to be. Now, are they going to change that Unreal, the current Slipspace engine in multiplayer? No, that is going to remain separately from what I understand. That's going to continue to do what they do. Slipspace works fantastic with multiplayer. Let's get a Unreal Engine 5 game going. But Umbra, I want to go to you on this because look, it seems like they're taking Halo seriously again. And I said this in the green room before we went live, and I kind of want to reiterate this for the fans out here. All you have to do is look at the reception that came the way of Gears of War E-Day. People were crying. People were excited. People could not wait to play the game. There was a reinvigoration of the series. If they could bring back Halo with the same tenacity for a launch of a new console, it is going to be something else. Let's get your hot take on this, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, Ains, shout out to Ains. He's not the only one. I'm a fan too. I'm a fan. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't get the song out of my head. No, man, this is a dream come true to me. I've asked for for them to use Unreal Engine for Halo for years. Like, I didn't in my wildest dreams believe they would do that, but it's beautiful to me. The thing is too, is like you say they're taking Halo serious again. And that's the thing I take away from this, because we had this showcase come through, the showcase season, and last year, and we had no Halo. Like, that's kind of unheard of. Jamie said it earlier where he pointed out that Halo is Xbox, and he's absolutely correct. You cannot, and I mean, we have so many different quotes. I mean, Phil's infamous, we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way with Xbox. Like, we have so many different quotables where you can point to and say where that you don't treat the franchise that built Xbox, the tent pole that built Xbox, you don't get that right, and everything else kind of falls to the wayside. Now, I don't know how necessarily true that might be nowadays with the bevy of franchises Xbox now has, including Call of Duty, but to me, it always will matter. It's my favorite franchise of all time. So I would love for them to get this right and to nail that down properly. I think if they're, and to me, I think if you have this much radio silence, it's pretty clear that they're doing something behind the scenes. I don't know. I don't think that you continuously hear rumors of Unreal Engine, and we've been hearing for now the better part of 2 years, and there's nothing there to substantiate it. I think you get that much smoke, there's some fire somewhere. So I believe it when they say that it might be Unreal Engine 5 that they're using personally, and I hope that it is. I hope it is, because I want Halo, and as gorgeous as the Slip Space engine turned out to be for the Halo campaign, Halo Infinite campaign. Unreal Engine would take it that much higher, right? It's like going from Halo 3 to Halo 4 to me. Like,
Yes.
I think it would take it to that next step. And people, I know many were like, "Oh, I don't know, Unreal can it handle the movements we need?" And yeah, of course they can. And they have capable people there with Xbox, and we already know about the teams that go around from the coalition and everything else that are now in-house to help with.
Well, they have a whole team that literally what they wind up doing is, because the coalition was moving from space to space, and now they have dedicated a team that is kind of like what Sony has. You know, they have a special team that
Right.
comes in on the back end that does all of these, you know, cleaning up and assisting. Well, now we know that there is a coalition team that doesn't have a name. They're just the coalition, but they are a team that goes around. And I would imagine that they're spending a significant amount of time with 343, who has never used the Unreal Engine. It's going to be a big deal.
Absolutely. Ballantone, I'm going to give you a moment to take that back, that statement that you just made. The Black John, yes, I do believe in anything Unreal, because you know it's worth believing.
Just look at the results, man. Just look at the results. That's all I have to say. Just look at the results.
Ballantone, I'm waiting for your apology. Go ahead and get started on that, brother. But no, I'm excited for that for many reasons. Halo should never be a case where we have any uncertainty when it comes to Halo, in my opinion. I just don't think that should ever be the case. So seeing all these different things pop up, because it's kind of a sad state of affairs, because while Infinite is a good game, I think objectively it's just a good game, right? A great game even. And you see a lot of even its initial review scores, I think, is in line of what it should be and what it should have got, right? And then you have the issue with the lack of content and everything like that. None of that should ever be an issue for the franchise.
Not with Halo, man. I mean,
yeah,
you don't want to see that with any game, but specifically, Halo is one of those games. It's a GOAT. It is why Xbox exists. And you know, hearing, you know, you made mention of it, the famous or the infamous quote from Phil Spencer. You know, if we lose our way with Halo, we lose our way. Is, well, you lost your way. It's been lost. And I'm not giving unnecessary smoke to film team, but this is where we have to give them smoke, because Halo Infinite is a great game. The multiplayer, but for me, the best multiplayer since 3, without a doubt. The single player was absolutely phenomenal, but there's so much missing from it that we're never going to get. So you did lose your way. I'm happy that we see they are strategically putting people in charge that are going to make this IP matter. It's going to be an important part of where Xbox goes next.
It is, and I know now they have Pierre. What's his last name?
I know you're talking about. He's now running the studio. I'll get his name.
I think it's Heinz. Or Hintz.
Yes.
I'm not sure how you say it. I'm sure it's Heinz though. But now that Pierre is there doing his thing, we get to see what it looks like now under him, and we already know about his turnaround for the MCC. And I mean, even with the Halo Infinite, they definitely added. They started to turn things around. But the problem is that it had lost its player retention now. Like so many people have dipped away from Halo. That is a crying shame to me, and I don't think that should ever be the case. It's a very competitive field out here with all these different games now, so you can't falter and have these issues with a staple like Halo, and and hope to keep people in that loop of continuously wanting to play this game. They'll move on to something else. There's a lot of options, you know what I mean? And so that's the part that concerns me. But other than that, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to hear at least that it's Unreal Engine. I know a lot of people are like, why Unreal Engine? Why ask why? I say, let it happen, my good people. But yeah, I just hope that they nail it, man. I want to see something about this. Hopefully next year we'll hear something concrete. Still haven't heard anything about Creative Assembly doing what they were doing. Is it Creative Assembly? I keep mixing them up.
Yeah, for which franchise?
They were, if it was not Creative Assembly, it's another team that was working on.
Oh, you're talking about Certain Affinity. Yeah, we don't know what.
Affinity,
Yeah, we don't
thank
know
you.
what Certain Affinity was working on. I mean, it's supposedly it has morphed into a bigger project. The rumor that I heard is that it was going to be on the level. Again, this is just a rumor, so please don't quote me or whatever. I heard it from like everyone else. You search the internet long enough, you're going to find a rumor that it was more in the lines of ODST. Is that true? Well, I
I heard
freaking
that
hope
too.
so. I'll be honest with you, but
maybe there was that, and I always mix them up with Creative Assembly. I don't know why, but I guess the CA thing. But
yeah,
the
it's
thing
fine.
is,
It's close. Certain Affinity,
Yeah.
Creative Assembly. You can I can see where you can make that mistake, but you're definitely
Yeah.
onto something. I hope that we do hear something, but I want to hear from 343. I want to hear about the standard, the Halo that we know and love, right? That's what we all want to hear. I mean, first of all, shout out to Scott Gamer Dude. He says, not the oldest, Boom. He turned 56 yesterday. Happy belated birthday, Scott. Thank you of course, for sharing that with us, for being here, and hopefully you had an amazing day with the family and friends.
Happy belated, but don't try to age shame Boom to make yourself seem younger, Scott.
Yeah.
You see how you try to do that,
I'm a
man?
53, so he's actually technically the older one. He's got me by 3 years, so
there you go.
it actually makes me feel younger.
Yeah,
and I will tell you,
himself. I saw that.
I will tell you that after the 18-minute workout that I did to Sam Smith, my arms are like rubber bands, bro. Like, I'm dead. I may have to catch a nap after this show, but we'll talk about that another time. Listen, Crazy Lou Gaming, you are a big Halo fan. For me, I think that this is fantastic news. I'm going to say this. This is going to probably be an opinion that a lot of people do not appreciate or like, but I am in the camp where Halo Infinite as a multiplayer they're doing it right. Every month they have a new operation. There's new armor. There are new maps. The community has stepped up in a big way with Forge. It is limitless, right? That is always going to exist where it is. It's going to use the Slipspace engine as it should, and that's fine. The next Halo, which of course is rumored at this point to be an Unreal Engine 5, I think it should launch as its own single-player, story-driven narrative game. I don't think they have to include multiplayer in the form and fashion of what you see on your screen. Should it have co-op? 1,000%. Should it have split screen? Even more thousands percents. It should have everything that Halo is to all of us OGs, and especially the new kids. And multiplayer, well, multiplayer could be what it is. It's separate. It's free to play. That's why I think that there is an opportunity here for a real bring back to classic Halo, and I think Unreal Engine 5 would be a great engine to be in order to tell the story. Let's get your take on the new moves to management within 343.
It's awesome, Boom. It's awesome. I heard a lot of people complaining about how this Halo is like for when it began. We all know it kind of like had a rocky start, but then along the way, it starts little by little get better and better and better. But yes, it's still missing like some key features, right? Like, for example, I've always asked, like, okay, why don't they sit down and say, okay, let's play Halo from the first to what is now. Let's sit down and play it. Let's see what are we missing? What key features are we missing to make the next Halo game better? What can we bring from the old games back to over here? What can we do to make this Halo more interesting, or to bring people, back to the love they had for Halo? Because either way, though, I know this Halo is amazing. The multiplayer is fun when you play with friends and all that stuff, but it feels like, yes, they're missing something. It's like they're missing something. And since we saw the whole Gears of War thing, which man, I'm really happy they decided like to do a turnaround. And I think, and I hope it is. This is gonna be pretty much a reboot to the series. You know, reboot it. Let's take it to another journey through Gears, which I hope that's what it is. Because I mean, they did it pretty much with God of War back in the other day, back in the PlayStation days. It was kind of like a reboot type of scenario thing. So my question is, though, and I got a question. I mean, wouldn't you guys like to see this also play for Halo? Like, give Halo a little reboot, probably change a little bit the story, or do something. I don't know, but Halo's missing something. Halo is missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's got to get like something to pump it up the way it was. No,
I mean, it's interesting because where do you? I mean, if I mean that's a great question, Louis. I mean, I think we could spend an hour on that. A reboot, I don't like the idea because I don't want Halo to not exist from what we remembered in Combat Evolved. I think that there is something to be said about keeping that lore. The problem that I think they may run into is a lot of people are going to be looking for a continuation to what happened at the end of Infinite, which it was a wide open opportunity for additional story, which we know we are not getting. So I don't know where they go from there. I mean, it's you know what, I don't even have an answer for that, to be honest with you. I don't want a reboot, to be honest with you. I like what they did with Combat Evolved. I think do they pull a Gears E-Day and go before Combat Evolved? I don't know if they should. I'd like to see a further story, but it is going to be a tightrope walk for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like I said, though, it's missing something. I mean, there's something that's got to be missing, and they got to sit down and play. Like I said, play throughout the games, bring something to it. I mean, you can. Halo's got millions of ideas you can bring up to the table, right? And so I don't know, but for me, there is something. It's like you said. I played the campaign. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. It left something wide open. Should they continue with that campaign? I think they should. Yeah, I think they should continue with it and see where it ends too. But at the end of the day, though, like I said, they got to sit down, play throughout the whole Halo and see, okay, let's see what we can bring back from the old games to make Halo what it was and make it better than what it is today. Way more better, because, of course, it's not saying it's bad, but it needs to get that Halo factor back in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great point. It's a great point all around. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they are. I think if there's one platform and one company with leaders that appreciate their fan base, I think it's safe to say that after the reception, gentlemen, of Gears E-Day, they had to. And I mean, again, I don't have this on good authority. I'm not sitting in the boardroom with Sarah and Matt and Phil. I wish I could, but I'm not. And they had to have some big takeaway from how people reacted. And if they did, and I know that they did, then they're going to look at, well, listen, we're launching our next console. Again, that's the rumor, in 2026. Halo Infinite, Halo, the next Halo, could be in 2026, right along. And I know somebody had said it, E-Day is 2025. Well, that's the rumor. I don't know if that's going to, in fact, be the case. We'll see. I hope it is. I actually hope that the way it plays out, at least for me, is that E-Day is next year, and that leads us into the 20th anniversary, where they will then drop the Market's Phoenix collection, redone from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5, celebrating Gears of War with the trilogy. That's what I hope hope happens. Like, is that going to happen? Honestly, I don't know, but I hope that it does. But look, at the end of the day, this was a phenomenal show. We got 3 major topics. We had a lot of really fun, pointed conversation. I want to thank all of the super chats and the channel memberships that continue to come in. They really do help in a big way. Just some programming news. There is not going to be a show on Thursday. Mrs. Boom and I are going to be celebrating by pretty much just hanging out in the house and doing nothing for July 4th. So there's not going to be a show. C Money is taking off with his family. We will return Friday morning for Breakfast with Boom. Next Friday's Breakfast with Boom, not this week, the following week, we are doing our Christmas in July giveaway. We're giving away 5 double barrel gaming prize packs. Those prize packs are going to include everything that we gave away in LA, plus a $25 Xbox gift card for each one of the prize packs. And also, and again, I'm waiting for them to come in. They're not in as of yet. I'm hoping they get here by the time we have the the giveaway. The Gears of War E-Day coins, I'm getting 5 more of them. And I'm giving those away inside of these prize packs. Now, if they are delayed, just for shipping reasons, I may postpone the actual giveaway to the following week. And we'll see how that plays out. I want to make sure that I have them in hand so I can send them to every one of the winners the minute that the packages go out. The coins will be in there as well. And let's get to the outros, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start first with the elusive gamer, Jamie Moran. Please, by all means, sell the brand of your incredible podcast that you do weekly, as well as the videos that you do on your on your YouTube channel. Where could people subscribe, but more importantly, follow you on social media?
Thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure being on the show and talking to everyone here. But yeah, my YouTube channel is The Elusive Gamer. I strictly cover Xbox. I have All Things Xbox podcast on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, where no fanboy stuff, just a pure Xbox podcast. It's on tonight. I put out, well, at least trying to get back to weekly videos as well. I put out a video the other night of the 10 biggest new games coming to Xbox in July, and I put these out every month covering all the biggest new releases coming to Xbox to the platform. And I've got a bunch of stuff coming up in the future with on-camera content, let's plays, bunch of stuff planned for the channel, all that stuff. And my Twitter is Jamie Moran UK, where I cover Xbox and some jokes.
Well, you do a great job, and you always have such great posts. I always find myself retweeting them and getting involved in the conversation. What's sad is you have the Arkham escapees that seem to attack you for saying, hey, X amount of games, new games coming in July to, Xbox. And you're not saying that they're exclusive. You're not saying that they're not coming to PlayStation. You as an Xbox guy saying, hey, Xbox gamers, these games are coming. It's always sad to see how social media really does try to beat down the people that are just looking to have fun. Listen, I say use your block button wisely. I've been using it, and as you can see, not only is Lethal Papa banning people, when I see a-holes that come in here that make comments about something that I said, I don't give second chances. You're gone. Because I don't like that kind of rhetoric. Come here, have fun, have an opinion. You're allowed to have one. But when you start making fun of people, or for instance, you try to make fun of me, I do. You're lucky I'm not seeing you in real life, because I'm a gentleman until I'm not. And I'll leave it at that. But Infinite Umbra, you got a show with Daniel McGee each and every week called The Fix. That's Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. I don't know if there's going to be a show this particular week because of the holiday, but please tell everyone where they could subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, follow you on social media.
Yes, indeed. I'm doubtful that we'll have a show this week. I actually wasn't thinking about it until Sith Lord of all people hit me up. He was asking, like, hey, you got a show this week? I'm like, I forgot about the 4th of July. I forgot about freedom. Boom. Why did I do that? I don't know, man. I just been in this weird thought. I guess I wasn't thinking about it, but yeah, I've got some barbecue to have, some good food, some good games. Now, doubtful that we do. I mean, I'll
play Double Dragon, sir. Play Double Dragon.
Yeah, that I still have Elden Ring DLC to get into. I have the first Descendant to get into. Man, I want to finish up. Oddly enough, I want to go back and finish up Octopath 1 and get all the achievements because I got all of them in part 2.
That is just bonkers, dude. Yeah, I started 1. I got to finish it. I did not start 2. I downloaded it. Yeah, that's. I mean, if you're a classic RPG, turn-based RPG fan, play those games. They're phenomenally done.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful pixel art style. It takes you back to that old school feeling, but it's modernized enough in the controls and the style of how you do turn-based that it's just I think it's good enough. Also, the original soundtrack is beautiful too. It's just a good game, man. I loved it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Both games are in Game Pass. You all have no excuse not to try to, except for the absolutely ridiculous amount of games that we have to play that would stop you. So I understand if you don't, but it is good and it's worth your time. I'm going to go back and get that. For as far as me, you can find me on Twitter, X Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Obviously, as Boom pointed out, the fix on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. I doubt we'll have one this week, but stay tuned. I had mentioned, by the way, that I was going to give since we had 155 entrants in the giveaway for the Urge Free DLC or expansion, probably
Nice.
a better word. One person won, and he did contact us, so we found him. I wanted to give another one away just because it was so many people that entered. I felt it was unfair to just give one code out. So when we return, before we return, I'll post it again, and people can
Nice, dude. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll post it again. People can re-enter and follow the rules for that to jump back in for a chance to get the Shadow of the Urge Tree DLC expansion. I don't want to call it. It deserves to be called an expansion. It's too big to be called a DLC. Pause. But yeah, as far as that goes, yeah, guys, enjoy your 4th of July freedom for some us Yanks and anybody. Oh yeah, you were mentioning about people who for people who would, be banned and such, and Lethal doing his thing, of course, yourself here and there. Anybody that mocks Unreal Engine, you got to go.
Oh, snap. Look out.
I just gotta tell you, I'm looking for you. Valentone, I still haven't seen that apology. You think I forgot? So yeah. Any Unreal Engine slander, I see anything about stuttering, I'm targeting you. Just to let you know.
I did see the stuttering thing, especially when they had that. I don't remember who said it. They mentioned something about the about it not really working great for Fortnite. But see, Fortnite's a multiplayer game. We're talking about Unreal Engine 5 coming to Halo, the next Halo, for the purpose of a story-driven, narrative-focused game. I think that there is a world where the game can exist as a single player game with Unreal Engine 5, and I think that there is a world where they're probably going to exist in Slipspace as a multiplayer. Well, one's going to stay by itself. I think that the only caveat for that is seeing the split screen and multiplayer, meaning that your co-op player or co-op players for the next Halo being a part of it. That's about the only multiplayer you should get. I have no problem with them splitting it. Let multiplayer be where it is. I know that that's not standard fare, but that is the way that they're doing it, because right now Halo Infinite is free to play. The next Halo, which hopefully will be told in Unreal Engine 5, can and will be, of course, in that engine where they can tell this incredible story, and it could be a digital, it could be a graphical masterpiece. That's what I'm hoping for. But Umbra, obviously, we look forward to the additional contest that you're going to add. Thank you so much for that. And of course, thank you for being a part of today's show, as always. Lastly, Crazy Lou Gaming. Let's talk about, now, obviously, we know about the Xbox International podcast, but you know what I want to focus on, Lou? I want to focus on the solo work that you've been doing. I dropped into your chat the other day, had a great conversation with the people that are there. A lot of people showed up for it, which I'm very happy for you. Tell people about this new addition to what you do on your YouTube channel, and about the solo work that you're doing, as well as, of course, the Xbox International podcast. And more importantly, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, Mr. Bliss, thank you for dropping by yesterday. It was awesome. It was awesome. I have a lovely conversation on there, man. Like, it's Good Morning with Crazy Louie. I used to do it before on Twitter, but I decided, why not do it on YouTube and just hang out with people and just have conversations? And it's way better, I got everybody jumping in, having fun, talking, making fun of the painting, saying it's coming alive. That painting has been a ruckus. One night I'll just turn on the camera one night and just leave it on and see if something happens, so people can stick in and see, it's moving or something. I don't know. I think I'm doing that. But either way, though, Mr. Wilson, thank you for having me on today. sorry I came in late. We got a bad storm beneath us, but it's close by, so it was kind of raining and thunder. I was like, let me wait a little bit, so it cleared up a bit, so hopped in. But yeah, you can find me simple and easy on Twitter X as Crazy Louie Gaming. And like I said, and you talked about it, my good morning shows, Good Morning with Crazy Louie, each and every morning. You can also find me in the Xbox International Podcast, 7 p.m. ET on Wednesdays with Sabo, the Big Plume, and Silent Cypher, and sometimes the XBI in Espanol on the Xbox International Podcast Espanol YouTube channel with Eternal Shaddai, ASCAP Gaming, and I forgot what more, Elvin. As you can find the crazy one at 7 p.m. ET.
Nice, brother. Well, thank you so much for being here. Big thank you to well over 700 people watching us live. And again, different places you watch live, whether it be on Twitter or on YouTube. Mrs. Boom and I certainly appreciate all of the views. Obviously, you know, they're helping the channel grow. We had some really big numbers that we passed. We crossed 6 million views, which for a small channel of our size is tremendous. We've uploaded 1,500 videos since inception, which our first video went up November 3rd, 2017. We haven't even officially made 6 full years, and we continue to grow. And guess what, folks? We are 200 and change away from 15K. That is really a big deal for us. And if you're finding the channel for the first time and you enjoyed the conversation that we're having or we had, please consider subscribing. Share this out on social media. And of course, before you get on out of here, hit the like button. And again, a big thank you to all of the super chats and the channel memberships that continue to come in that allow us to do some of the big giveaways, one of which is happening in a couple of weeks with our annual Christmas in July giveaway. And we're very excited for it because those are the prize packs that Mrs. Boom made. And she made so many of them, I couldn't take all of them to LA. So we kept some back for this special giveaway. And we're adding additional coins as well as a $25 gift card to each one of them. So it's when we say prize pack, you're really getting a nice prize pack. And of course, that is thanks to Mrs. Boom for the tireless work that she does behind the scenes. And let me just catch up on super chats here because we have 2 more that popped in. Frederick Williams drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, that would be a hard reboot. A soft reboot would be like God of War 2018, which honored the and continued the its regional games. I mean, that's very true. They could retell it, so to speak, but still not get away from where they were. That's a great point. I actually like that, a soft reboot versus an actual, hey, let's just scrap everything and start. So that's a great opinion, Frederick. Thanks so much for the idea, and more importantly, the generosity. And not to be outdone, Leonard Herrera, generous friend of the program. Leonard, thanks so much for being here, brother, and thank you for the very generous $2 super chat. And says, happy 248th Independence Day. Let's go democracy. Indeed. And you know what? Maybe that game is launching on Xbox sooner than the people want to give it credit for. But I did a video, and you should definitely check it out, where Helldivers, well, they've lost 90% of their fan base. Maybe Xbox can save that franchise. I know I pissed off a lot of people with that title, but, it's such as life. Not everyone's going to agree, but listen, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.